Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my cozy little studio. Today I'm going to be having a little paint and chat session. I'm working on a spread in my sketchbook that is inspired by my trip to Spain. So lots of little memories, and I'm calling it my Colors of Spain spread. So by the end of the video, you'll see the full thing. Now, my topic today is something I've been thinking about since I returned from my travels. Because when I returned, I dove headfirst into a bunch of projects and got immediately overwhelmed. And I think that's pretty common as the holidays approach. So, in order to save myself, in order to stay sane during this holiday season, I wanted to share with you a few things that I'm actively thinking about and working on. Some of these are more relatable to artists, while others are pretty universal. And before we jump in, I want to let you know that my holiday shop sale is still going on. I'll put a link in the description. Thank you to everyone who ordered. We had a huge influx of orders that first week, and we got everything out on time. And some of you have already received your orders and sent me photos, which has been really awesome to see. So thank you for that. So if you would like to buy some art gifts for friends or family or just yourself and want to support an independent artist, please do look at that link. And the best part is that your purchases go directly towards supporting this channel, which you're watching now for free. Okay, now on to the main topic. I broke this down into 3 things that I'm doing to stay sane this holiday season. And maybe I'll add in that I am an artist who collects hobbies, creative hobbies. I have 1,000 things that I want to be doing at all times. So one of the things that I find very overwhelming is when I walk into my studio and I go to my shelf or my little cupboard full of art supplies. I open it up and I'm immediately paralyzed by choices. Choice paralysis is a thing. Now, sometimes that leads me to using mixed media and doing a bunch of different fun, creative things throughout the day. But other times, when I'm already stressed, for instance, I will open that cupboard and just kind of be stunned by all the choices, and then I end up not choosing anything. I just close the cupboard and I go do something else. And I neglect my creative outlet, my creative hobbies. So I'm really going to try to avoid that this season. One way I'm doing that is keeping a sketchbook and a palette on my desk at all times, ready to go. Of course, if I want to add or, move something away from my desk, that's fine. But having this single sketchbook and one palette next to me, ready to go, has been a game changer, and it has really encouraged me to keep up with my daily practice. Well, I should say almost daily. Working in my sketchbook, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, is kind of my version of journaling. I have tried journaling a few times throughout my life and it's never stuck. I kind of just lose interest really quick. But with sketching, I'm able to process emotions and thoughts, and a lot of the sketches will bring up memories for me. Like this spread, for instance, I'm painting lots of fun little memories and details of my trip to Spain. And as I'm doing that, I'm looking at the photos and I'm kind of reliving it, and it's just so relaxing and wonderful. And I'm actually recording this whole video over the course of a week. So what you're seeing is me starting and stopping, coming and going into the sketchbook, working on it little by little whenever I had a little bit of time to squeeze in. So I don't sit down and force myself to do a whole sketchbook spread or pages of my sketchbook in one sitting, because that alone can be a little bit stressful, and sometimes I just don't have time for that. But since I have those supplies ready to go on my desk at all times, I can easily just pick it up and stop whenever I want. I am using kind of mixed media for this spread, a little bit of ink, a little bit of watercolor, a little bit of gouache, and because I use a dried gouache palette, that makes it really easy. I also have a ceramic palette that I can mix my watercolor and gouache on freely and just put that in a stay wet palette between uses. So all of that combined makes this whole thing really easy to come and go. But even though I have tried to set myself up for success in this area, I don't always achieve my goal of painting every day. Some days are just jam-packed full of life stuff, and I barely even go into my office or my studio. And on those days, I have other creative hobbies. And in fact, this season, I'm alternating between two specific hobbies. One is my sketchbook practice, and the other one is knitting. And as many of you know, in my Spain video, I talked about how I was introduced to the wonderful world of knitting, and I am now a little bit obsessed. So I'm knitting and crocheting, and it's been a lot of fun. And one of the reasons I love that hobby is because I can do it on the couch when I'm really tired. I can cozy up in a blankie and watch something, or just hang out with Wolfie, or have my cats napping on me. It's just one of the most cozy things to do in the night when it gets cold and dark. I actually find knitting is kind of a gateway to my creative side. If I'm having a bit of a hectic or stressful day, I will sit down and knit for a while, and after maybe 30, 40, 50 minutes, I'm feeling really creative, and sometimes I'll then go into my studio and paint. So it's been a wonderful addition to my creative outlets. And I'm so grateful for the workshop attendees who introduced me and showed me how to cast on and kind of pushed me into that rabbit hole. I think it was about time though, because, I live in Scotland and I'm surrounded by sheep and beautiful hand-dyed wool. And yeah, it's been wonderful. The next thing that I'm doing to stay sane this holiday season is not to put too much pressure on myself to create handmade art for people. And I think this is a pretty common thing, at least among artists I know, is that as the holidays approach, we start to feel that pressure of getting our gifts made on time and then packaging them up and shipping them out ahead of time. And it adds a lot of pressure. And on one hand, it's wonderful to be able to use my skills to create bespoke, custom, special art for people that I love. But again, when I'm already a bit stressed out, that just adds to that pressure. Or if I'm not able to do it, it creates a sense of guilt, which obviously isn't fun. If anyone else out there is in the same boat, just know that it's okay to not give handmade art as a gift, even if it is your special power. I'm really trying to give myself grace and be honest with myself about what I can or can't achieve in the amount of time I have left, and just be okay with not giving a handmade gift if I can't do it. I've done it many times in the past and I love it, but it's just not always feasible. All right, the next thing I'm doing to stay sane this holiday season is not really, well, it's kind of related to being an artist, but mostly just a consumer. And that is, I am going into the sale season with a list of pre-approved things that I'm allowed to buy. And coming up soon, we're going to have Black Friday sales and Cyber Monday sales and then Christmas sales, and all of the things are happening soon. And I don't know about you, but I am already getting bombarded with emails. A lot of places are starting sales early, and it's just feeding into that FOMO of oh, if I don't order it now, I'm going to miss out. And it's stuff that I didn't even think I needed or wanted until I see the email. So rather than fall into that trap, and also rather than feel the pressure or the FOMO or whatever, I have a list already made up of things that I want, and I'm just keeping my eye out for sale. If those things appear in a sale, then I'll buy them and I'll be happy. But otherwise, no pressure, no worry. I am just deleting the emails as they come into my inbox. And I'm sure some of you are wondering what are some of the things that are on my list. So mostly for me, it's like a list of watercolors or gouache tubes that I'm running low on. So I always like to have a backup tube of my favorite colors or whatever is currently in my palette or that I'm using regularly. I want to make sure I don't ever run out like in the middle of a project. So I always keep a tube in the cupboard. And I have a list of colors that have run out, unfortunately, and are soon to run out. So those are on the approved list. So I'm definitely going to be kind of spying the art shops online and looking for those. I have plenty of sketchbooks and like more than enough paper and art supplies. The rest of my cupboard is pretty full. So it's mostly just the paint this year, but I'm also kind of looking for some special inks that I may not know about. So I'm like now and then browsing sites that sell ink. So if anyone knows of any waterproof, fountain pen friendly inks, besides sketch ink or besides Diatramentis, I already have a bunch of those brands. Any other brands that you can think of, especially if they sell really fun colors. That's kind of it's not an urgent thing for me, but if I see one that I love and it's a really good sale, I'll probably buy one. Because I just have been loving my fountain pens this year. I've been using them a ton and I go through ink pretty quick, actually. And I also paint with ink sometimes too. So those are my pre-approved items. And if you feel like sharing, I would love to know what yours are. And speaking of which, if anyone is in the market for buying my custom brushes, the ones that you see me using in this video, I have a discount code for you. Check the description for all that information. And I have a discount code for Jackman's art supply, which are some of the watercolors and gouache that I use. I've been experimenting more with them this year and really, really loving it. Most of what you see in this video are my Jackman's gouache with some of the watercolors, like the granulating watercolors especially. So I'll put all the information for those codes in the description, and I'll try to remember to update it if any other companies contact me about discounts. And so you can kind of bookmark this video and check back once in a while, especially like right before you purchase something. Maybe just look at the description and see if I've added any discount codes. All right, I think that's it for me. So thank you all for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this little sketchbook video, and I will be back again soon with some more painting. All right, I'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everyone.